Are you afraid?
It was supposed to be a quick trip over the mountain pass, a shortcut to save a couple of hours. The weather forecast had predicted light flurries, nothing serious. But as I started the climb, the sky turned heavy, the air grew thick, and the snow began to fall, with an intensity I hadn't anticipated. Within minutes, I was caught in a full-blown whiteout. My wipers fought a losing battle against the onslaught, and the road, once a clear path, vanished beneath a rapidly accumulating blanket of white. I slowed to a crawl, every instinct screaming at me to find shelter. Then, the engine sputtered. A cough, a shudder, and then silence. Utter, terrifying silence, broken only by the howling wind and the ceaseless sifting of snow. I tried the ignition again and again, but the truck was dead. Stranded. Alone. I had no cell service. The mountain had swallowed it whole. My only option was to wait, hope someone else braved the pass, or freeze. The temperature was dropping fast. I started rationing my emergency snacks and wrapped myself in the old sleeping bag I kept in the back. Hours passed. Or maybe it was just one. Time distorts in a blizzard. I was drifting in and out of a shivering sleep when a faint tap startled me awake, a soft, almost hesitant rap on the passenger window. I jumped, my heart pounding. Who could possibly be out here? Through the frosted glass I could just make out a figure, bundled in a dark coat, standing impossibly still in the raging storm. I rolled down the window just a crack, letting in a gust of icy wind and a spray of snow. "Hello?" I called out, my voice thin against the wind. The figure stepped closer, and I saw her face. She was a woman, impossibly gaunt, her skin a mottled bluish gray. Her eyes were deep, shadowed hollows that seemed to drink the meager light. And when she opened her mouth to speak, it didn't widen horizontally like a normal smile, but split vertically, revealing 2 rows of small, pointed, black teeth. My blood ran cold. Every fiber of my being screamed that something was terribly wrong. This wasn't a stranded hiker. This wasn't human. But she spoke, her voice a low, raspy whisper, surprisingly calm amidst the storm. "My car. Down the road. It slid off." I could barely breathe. The words were normal, the plea for help was normal, but her face, her mouth, it was all wrong. My mind raced, panic clawing at me. If I left her out there, she would die. If I let her in, I might. "Get in!" I forced out, my voice a shaky whisper. "Quickly! It's freezing." I rationalized it. Maybe the cold was playing tricks on my eyes. Maybe she had a rare condition. Maybe. She moved with an unnatural slowness, almost a glide, into the passenger seat. The interior of the truck, already cold, seemed to drop another 10 degrees. She sat perfectly still, not bothering to brush the snow from her jacket, which dripped slowly onto the floor mat. She didn't shiver. I avoided looking directly at her, focusing on the dark outline of the mountain pass outside. "What happened to your car?" I asked, trying to sound normal, trying to ignore the creeping dread. "It went off the road," she repeated, the same flat whisper. The blizzard came so fast. Her voice was devoid of emotion, a monotone that grated on my nerves. There was no fear, no relief, no cold, just words. We sat, in silence, for what felt like an eternity. The cold deepened, seeping into my bones. I kept checking the windows, hoping for any sign of a break in the storm, any glimmer of another vehicle. Nothing. I noticed her hand then, resting on her lap. It was too long. The fingers slender and bent at slight, impossible angles. It twitched, just once, a delicate, spider-like movement. I quickly looked away. "Are you warm enough?" I managed, trying to break the suffocating silence. It was a stupid question. She hadn't shivered once since getting in. She slowly turned her head, her dark, hollow eyes fixed on me, and for the first time, I felt like she wasn't just observing but truly seeing me. A cold, hungry recognition settled in those depths. That was it. I couldn't do it. I couldn't let it stay. My truck was dead, but I had to get this thing away from me. I had to save myself. I had to get away. With a sudden burst of adrenaline, I fumbled for the door handle and practically threw myself out of the truck, landing knee-deep in fresh snow. The cold was a shock, but the horror of that thing in the passenger seat was worse. I scrambled, half crawling, half running, away from the truck, sinking into the snow with every desperate step. Behind me, I heard the passenger door open fully. A low, drawn-out moan followed, a sound like grinding stones, utterly inhuman. I collapsed behind a thick pine, gasping for air, shaking uncontrollably. I knew I couldn't survive the night out here. But I also knew I couldn't go back to that truck. I couldn't let that thing have me. The blizzard broke with the first hint of dawn. The world was pristine, silent, and impossibly cold. I could see the road again. And 100 yards up, just as the woman had said, another car, half buried in a snowdrift, its driver's side door slightly ajar. A woman, shivering and crying, was huddled inside, wrapped in blankets, just barely conscious. My heart lurched. She was real. She was human. And she was alive. I had saved her. I helped her out, supporting her, as we stumbled towards my truck. I made sure she got inside, tucked away from the cold. But I didn't get in with her. I couldn't. Not after what I had invited in, what had been sitting in that seat. That seat that was now empty. I just kept walking, away from the truck, away from the mountain, and away from the price of giving a ride.